T-minus 2 days until liftoff. Forecasters are predicting good weather ahead of the scheduled historic Artemis II moon mission on Wednesday. If the mission is given the all clear, 4 astronauts will embark on a 9-day journey around the far side of the moon and back. It will be the first crew to head to the moon since the Apollo 17 flight more than 50 years ago. The crew is also expected to reach a distance of nearly 253,000 miles from Earth. That's farther than any humans before them. Artemis II will also be the first piloted flight of an Orion deep space crew capsule. It was initially scheduled to launch in early February, but the flight was delayed due to technical issues. Let's bring in CBS News space consultant Bill Harwood. So, Bill, we've got less than 48 hours until scheduled liftoff. Dr. Lori Glaze of NASA seemed really optimistic in Sunday's update. How are the final preps going?
Well, they're still very optimistic. You know, they just had a mission management team meeting just a few minutes ago, actually. They came out of that, had a news conference that said they haven't got any issues they're working. It's been a very smooth flow so far. They just started the countdown. The clock is ticking here at the Kennedy Space Center. And if all goes well, they'll be ready for launch at 6:24 p.m. on Wednesday, weather permitting.
This is the most powerful rocket NASA has ever built. It has launched before. I was there at Kennedy Space Center when it did in 2022, but not with humans on board. So remind us what NASA is hoping to achieve.
Well, you know, it's very interesting. When they launched the first SLS rocket in the Artemis I mission, the Orion capsule it carried did not have a life support system in it. It carried an instrumented mannequin on board. So this time around, it's the first flight of an Orion with a crew on board. They're going to be putting the life support systems through its paces. They're going to spend 25 hours in Earth orbit before they even head for the moon, just to check out the Orion capsule, make sure it's maneuverable, all the systems are working properly before they finally give a go to head for the moon. And of course, as you know, that's a huge step for NASA to kick off this Artemis program, which is aimed toward landing astronauts in the moon, on the moon in 2028.
I want to go ahead and put up the graphic again, just to remind people of the trajectory that Orion will be going. Can you sort of explain to us each stage?
Sure. You know, they take off, and like I said, they spend 25 hours in Earth orbit, and then they're going to fire the engines on the Orion service module. That'll blast them out of Earth orbit, and they'll head for the moon. They're going to pass around the leading edge of the moon and then loop back around and come back to Earth. Now, it's interesting. This is called a free return trajectory. Once they fire their rockets to head for the moon, they really don't have to do much else in terms of thruster firings. They're going to use the moon's gravity to bend that orbit, or bend that trajectory, I should say, back toward Earth, setting up a splashdown off the Southern California coast on April 10th. So, you know, from the crew standpoint, there's not a lot of, you know, hands-on flying involved in a flight like this, but they're going to be putting, like I said, putting that Orion through its paces. And then on the far side of the moon, they're going to get a chance to put human eyes on parts of the moon that never been seen from Earth before by human eyes, and that's going to be really interesting.
I can't wait, Bill. I hope you've got your lozenges and your tea, because we're going to be talking to you a lot tomorrow. We'll see you then.
It's going to be fun.